What's going on, everybody? My name is Andrew,
Alex.
and today we're doing something a little bit different. That being said, how about we roll the intro? Alright guys, welcome to a new segment we're doing called What's On Today.
You're in for a treat. Actually, we're in for a treat today. We got a new special blend that my boy Andrew bought. Yeah, so what's on, Andrew? What are we sipping on?
Today, we're picking up something we're drinking something that I picked up yesterday at Blue Rooster Cafe called Nervous Rooster. This is their Brazil roast. This is apparently one of their boldest, and I guess their personal favorite, the staff there. So I picked up a half pound. We want to support local businesses, so I'm excited to try this. I know you are too. So let's see what we think.
Just a little recap, all about the local business, local hustle. If you're a local hustle, local business out there, keep doing your thing, man.
Absolutely.
Strive for excellence. If you haven't succeeded yet, you will if you continue and are persistent.
Absolutely. So let's dig in, man. Let's try this out.
Cheers, my friend.
Cheers, bro.
And we waited for this first sip just for you.
Ooh, that's strong. It's smooth though.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Brazilians. I'm digging this one. It wasn't the chocolate. Well, we'll say that for another time because we had that chocolate blend, but I want to try that for a second time.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, on the set. So
true. I like how it's very smooth. I also feel like brewing pour over style always kind of gives like a little bit more of a favorable taste to whatever coffee we have.
Yeah.
But I like how it's very very bold. It almost this isn't a negative thing, but I almost feel like it's like almost a little oily.
With this?
Yeah. Like it's not bad, but I just feel like it has like a little bit of that tinge, but it's very bold and robust flavored, but still very smooth.
Yeah, I get that, man. I think it's very very smooth. I think the last pour over we had, was like it was smooth, but the boldness was like it kicked, man. It kicked real hard, and you were like, ooh, for those who drink coffee and you ever have a bitter taste, you're like,
yeah.
Ugh.
But I should
give me that.
Was that?
This one doesn't give me that.
Yeah, I think it's overall it's bold, but it's still very pleasurable.
Yeah.
I should have said this earlier, but if you guys are interested in trying this, we'll figure out whatever their information is and link it down in the description so you can follow up with them and give them a visit. They also sell pastries and other things like that too. So if you want to hit them up.
Yeah, my mother-in-law actually has like a brownie and it looks so delectable. It's in a box.
Yeah. It's salted caramel pretzel.
As soon as I opened to look at it, this guy was like, "Don't even think about it. It's my mom's." I'm like,
dang it.
I had to make the excuse. What I say? I had pancakes, man. I don't know what I said.
I forget too.
Oh, I was like, I had a Hershey Kiss before I came in.
Yeah.
I said I had a Hershey Kiss before I came in, man. I'm good. It was a lie. I wanted it.
I bet you that I wanted it. And I bought myself a triple chocolate cupcake when I was there. It was so good. It had some thick chocolate whipped cream on the inside.
All of that was unneeded information, bro. I'm gonna have to stop the Oberlin on my way home.
Hey, you could. No, I wouldn't knock you.
My wife yells at me for spending enough money as is. I can't spend anymore. She's gonna kill me.
Yeah, I spend too much money on food
Love
too.
you, sweetie, but if you see a $8 charge, it's because triple chocolate over here.
And it's actually cheap for this coffee. For the half pound and the two desserts I got, it was only like $14.
It's people like that make me spend the money. I'm telling you.
I make it sound good. I'm like, hey, you should do it because it's not that expensive.
No, for real though. I was at Barnes & Noble yesterday, and I was buying a gift for my friend. It was his birthday, and I wanted to get him a journal. He studies and reads the Word. He's a believer, and I think he just writes what's on his thoughts too. So as soon as I got to the wall though, it was like 50%, buy one get one 50% off, and I'm the type of guy, I already have 4 journals that are unwritten in, and I'm like,
me too.
As soon as I see 50% off, I'm like, I looked at my wife like,
journal.
I'm getting a new journal, ain't I?
Didn't she get you a leather bound one for your birthday too?
And I have yet it's actually in my camera bag over here. I have yet to write it because that one's like I think it's Israeli made, and it's like, oh man, it's so official, so organic and legit. So I'm waiting for the best thought in my head, I'm talking Nobel Prize thought process to come to mind before I actually put ink to that page. But yeah, I'm the type of guy, whenever I see a sale, I'm like, well, I don't need that, but it's 20% off, I'm gonna buy it. So
I mean, that's not even that bad though. you talked about how like you have the Israeli made this, and you want to have Nobel Peace Prize like ideas. I got, if you can actually see it right, you guys can't see it, but my bookshelf is over here. If you look right there on the third shelf, you see those journals right there?
Yeah.
The top two aren't written in. One's the Captain America one that's just waiting for what's a whatever journal.
Yeah.
But there's one, if you look underneath that dictionary looking book, there's like a small little tiny thing between that and a brown whatever.
Yeah.
That's a journal that I bought, I think, 4 years ago, and it is exclusively for whenever I go to New Zealand and I spend like a month backpacking in that country. It's specifically for that.
So it's untouched.
It's untouched, and it's still in the shrink wrap.
Oh man.
And it's a Hobbit inspired. It's like designed it like for there and back again.
Yeah, yeah.
And so it has like the design on the front, and like it has like I think Smogs on the back with the original artwork from J.R. Tolkien.
That may not be like like world record, like change lives, but I mean that's personable, man. I respect that you haven't touched that for that point,
Yeah.
Like I think that's well deserved. I don't know if you guys would agree or not, but cool, man. So what's on today? What are we gonna talk about?
So this is kind of came over on my mind in the past few days, and I guess I'll just kind of like talk about when I kind of mentioned to you a little bit earlier. I said that you guys don't know this. A lot of people do know this about me, though. I'm not that hip to when it comes to like what's going on in the rap world. But I recently got introduced to The Sword. I think it's an EP, if I'm not mistaken, by Mineo. It came out in like September of last year. And like most things when it comes to what people are into, I'm like behind unless it's meme culture because I'm a nerd.
This guy really does know every meme. Like I tell him something and he refers to me and I'm just like, bruh.
Yeah, I'm a loser. It's okay.
I wouldn't say so. There's people.
I'm joking.
Oh, okay.
I'm not being like I'm not being that self-deprecating.
I was like about to fix. Like, come on.
It's like
we gotta work through this, brother.
But he's a song called Friends, and I forget what the next one's called, but it's like None of My Business or something like that, or Not My Problem, something along those lines. But the one that really like rang home with me was the one with Friends, and like I'm looking at like, and it made me like kind of look and reflect on like my friendships, and it made me kind of think of like every once in a while, because I'm kind of someone that like digs in and like just like works, and I kind of like neglect, I guess, my social life sometimes, unless it's like with you or Antonio, and every once in a while somebody else might come in the mix. But I usually don't care about this, but it made me kind of like reflect and think that like, man, like I wish I had more friends, because I see like this is where I get caught up in the Instagram nonsense, even though I usually don't care.
Yeah.
Where like you see like, oh, these people are like, hanging out constantly, and I'm like, do I not have the time for that, or like am I not whatever? So why do I have the friendships that I have? And then I also thought about it from like, not to get too deep, but like when I notice like people our age in a spiritual sense, where it seems that when they get to a struggle or whatever, they seem to fall off, and I wonder if there's a common denominator between how I feel about friendships and like how people like that might treat their friendships as well. So I just want to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, definitely. I think we've expressed this before, that we relate on that area. Me growing up in my local community and in my schools, from grade school all the way up, literally from, I want to say, third grade, I can remember, man, just accumulating mass amount of friends. Like I was telling him earlier when he had brought this idea up to me, that I think literally going from city to city in Northeast Ohio, I can shake up at least one or two people that I would know that I had just met. Literally.
Every time I'm hanging out with you out like in public, like 3 or 4 people, that might be an exaggeration, but at least once or twice at least, someone will be like, hey, yo, Alex, like, hey, yo, so-and-so. And then you like talk for like 10 minutes, I'm just like,
yeah. Well, like, that's just something naturally over time,
Mm-hmm.
I think with my family friends, and I'm just so connected to so many people. It's just my personality. It's just kind of how I thrive in life. And not to undermine any of my friendships, if any of you guys are watching this, I cherish you. And even if you're a distant acquaintance, honestly, like, I'm sure we've had deep conversations at some point. Even if I haven't seen you for 10 years, I'm sure you can remember. I know I can too if we bring it up. But even having such just mass amount of friends in different groups, the guys who are from the street, the guys who are jocks, the guys who are dorks, the guys who are band geeks, guys who are gamers, isolated, the guys who are weird, and it's like, yo, I don't know about this person. I don't know, if they might do something crazy or something.
Yeah.
And I'm friends with all of them. I don't really discriminate or bias on who I'm gonna hang around. But at the same time, like having all these friends, I never really felt connected. There's only a very few group of friends that literally to this day are like, I don't want to say speed dial because that's not really what we.
Right,
Actually, no, on my Samsung Note 9, I have those options.
Yeah, but like I feel like it's not really a thing anymore because like speed dial's not the point. Like, you just click the name and it calls.
It's like
you
your
know what I mean?
MySpace, like your top 5 friends. So yeah, if
I
you're
missed
a
that
MySpace
era.
user, nah, because you're a millennial, you definitely don't know what MySpace is. But well, technically we're millennials. Crap, it doesn't matter. But like
we know what MySpace is, but like there's like a cutoff where some people like they knew what it was, but like me, you weren't allowed to do social media until like you're an adult.
It's unfortunate, man. You would never.
I'm actually happy my parents didn't allow me to
So
do
you didn't
that.
mess with MySpace? You didn't know about like customizing your profile?
I didn't know
page?
about that till after.
Okay.
I knew about it from like third party knowledge.
Yeah.
I knew nothing about that type of internet culture.
Okay.
I'm thankful for it, frankly.
But besides the point, like, your top 5, top 10 friends, if I really to browse through, minus like my brother-in-law here who, we kind of accumulated a relationship growing since, what?
Kinda.
Well, I'm not saying, well, like,
Be firm in that now.
we knew each other for our whole lives, and
Yeah,
it wasn't
basically, it's
until
true.
like as of recent where we became like best friends. So like that's weird, for like knowing your sister, but like not knowing who she
Yeah.
is. But like minus the people who've come on recently in my life who I consider dear, close, and I can bounce off of pretty much anything. Everyone else who are those close friends to me, I've known my whole life,
Yeah.
So I kind of got on a rant there.
That's all right.
Yeah, so like I guess that goes on to being said, like having such massive amount of friends, you would think, oh, that guy's popular, but in my heart and in my mind, the mind's a crazy thing. I always felt disconnected. I always felt lonely, which is weird, and that kind of goes to what you were saying earlier today. If you want to kind of elaborate on that,
Like what?
in regards to like superficial, the depth of relationships, and what that kind of means to you, and why you kind of seen the consistency of in the spiritual manner of somebody who is close and falling off, or just relationships in general, and why they disperse and break apart compared to a relationship that's lifelong, like that consistencies you've noticed.
So I kind of want to kind of address that in a a layered way, if you don't mind. But like one of the things that like because you kind of explained how your relationships were throughout your life. I've always been someone that like anywhere I go, I make friends very easily, very quickly, and I never really struggled with that ever. But the one thing I found very consistent was that like I'll get close to like because one of the things my dad would always tell me and my little sister was that like you're lucky if you're blessed if you can say you have one true friend in your life, right? And I've had like friendships and like I've always mysticized that where I think that like you have a friendship is like forever, and it wasn't until I got older I realized that like seasons change, relationships change too in those seasons, and sometimes like you might mourn the loss of that friendship, and that's no issue with that really. So that's just how life is, and you can't get butthurt about it, But where I did for a while was that like I'd be real close to somebody, and then that relationship drifts off. It's like we're not friends anymore. That's not the case, but like it's just true. We don't have the closeness we once had, And the friendships I have now, I hope they last a lifetime. You know what I mean? Because I've built up some really solid relationships. But I think the reason why I'm not gonna lie, I've wanted popularity in my life, and for whatever reason, whether like we talked about this, that like I'm becoming like my dad. He's an intimidating figure, so people avoid him because they're like, this guy seems like he's like super like stern and mean guy.
Referring to your dad and yourself.
So I feel like I'm becoming that because I saw like how my dad would say people would react with him. It's how like I'm noticing people are starting to react to me as I'm getting older, and I don't understand it, but it's like whatever, I can't help it. But even though at some points where I desire popularity, what turns me off to it is how I guess I view relationships that I desire, and again this also kind of stems from my relationship with my dad as well. My dad would spend quality time with my sister and I, where, especially as an adult as well, where I would come home, we would talk for 2 to 4 hours a night, every single night, and it was a range of topics. We liked a lot of the same things, whether it was movies or UFC or like even spiritually. We would have in-depth conversations. My dad was kind of like my mentor in almost every area of my life, sports, socially, whatever, right? And I've noticed, and it was pointed out to me, that like that's kind of where I kind of head to So when you're someone who's popular, you know everybody, but it seems though that like it's always just on the surface. It's superficial. Where like you might have all these people that know who you are, but like no one really truly knows who you are, and you can't confess to them because they don't have the capacity to really address issues that you have because they don't know you like that, and they either don't care or they won't give you like anything that's worth anything to help you in the long run. Kind of referring back to that song, all my friends are coworkers, or again, superficial relationships where you're only a compartmentalized acquaintance or friend. But where can I go if my soul is hurting, right? And I think that's the issue. And I'm not saying I'm perfect, and I definitely do have superficial relationships. That's acquaintances, basically. But where I think that I've gleaned from my father and I learned well from is that, again, with our relationship, it's grown a lot. Or my best friend Antonio, and even really close friends and best friends of my past, like my friend Paul and whatever, was that we spent a lot of quality time together. And I'm not saying we didn't have fun and we didn't kick it or whatever, but it was like, hey, we're gonna hang out, but then we're gonna like talk for 2 hours afterwards. We're gonna go watch a movie, or we're gonna hang out and watch this TV show. We're gonna play baseball in the backyard, or do this or do that. But there's gonna be at some point we just sit, talk, and there's silence, and you have to deal with root issues. So like someone finally gets the courage to say, you know what, that can really tick me off that one day, and it brings up an issue, and then we hash it out, we work it out, and our friendship gets closer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I honestly, with that, it's unfortunate. I think a lot of people in our day and age, meaning our age group, can relate to that. I feel like that's something that, not to hate, but like 2000 babies and up really would experience. I feel like 90s, man, was a great time to be born, to be honest. Not just because I'm wearing my friend's joint, because I'm a huge fan. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But I think nowadays, you got a lot of clout, I guess you could say.
That's a good word to use in this context.
Seriously, man, like that's honestly like my word of life, recognizing it, seeing it, not even knowing the word and realizing it this year. Like you see a lot of people who do things for that popularity, and I'm in there, bro. There's so many times where I see my Instagram and I get discouraged being a young entrepreneur, a young filmmaker, and not having the attention or the what seems to be like a drive, but it's just a highlight of someone else's life or career or friendship. Their group seems to always be going out, or even your own friends seem to be hitting each other up, and you're out of the mix.
So I feel that one.
Yeah, especially being married now, like being pretty much the only guy in my age group around that's married. Like you get super excluded, and it's like, oh, that guy's married.
I'm the singlest one. And I get excluded. What you talking about?
But I'm saying though, like you feel extra excluded when you already experienced that.
Continue.
So then, like, it just creates that longing for relationship.
Mm-hmm.
But it's crazy because I have a core set of guys, a large core set of guys, man. Like I tell anybody, even in my struggles, like I'm blessed, regardless of where I'm at, because I have a crazy support system for ups, downs, all the in betweens, man. Crazy support system. But you still long for that. It's because where times are, man, you got social media, you got things that are at the instant presented for people, and it just looks like these people are having a good time. But if you really were to dissect those groups, as soon as crap hits the fan with any of them, they're either falling out, they're not truly there to support because they can't fathom, they can't really give you the correct advice, or they're trying to relate to you on every level when in reality they don't understand what you're going through.
Right.
It's just like awkward, it kind of creates like that. Okay, it's sad though because everybody's like, we're the realest ones, A1s, day ones. I'm like,
what up, fam?
I'm like, oh man, y'all whack.
And like, you just said something. I just lost it. What were you just saying?
There it went.
What?
I said there it went.
Dang, don't do that to me. Like, ugh. Well, like just backpedal a little bit for me. What did you just say?
I was just saying, like, in regards to the clout and like how people were. I feel like groups of friends now are more attracted to each other for what's lit, what's. Oh man, like they look like they have a lot of fun. Oh man, they look like they're real creative. Or man, they look like they know where the party's at, where to go. Like even if it's not a literal party, even if it's just like an adventurous spot, you get my adrenaline going. You change the way I view life, or no, that's a good thing, but you cause my heart to rush. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it doesn't necessarily have to be a male female type of thing. You know,
Yeah.
I could take you somewhere and your adrenaline's pumping. You're like, whoa, this is intense. You know, this is a rush. You know, this is great.
It's kind of like that. I hope I don't get this wrong, but I want to say it's.
Are you gonna do a meme reference?
No, like it's a movie reference. I want to say it's The Hangover, where like they meet up with like one guy, or it's like a show where like this one guy's coming into town. No, it's Friends. It's Friends with Joey and Chandler, or like that one guy comes into town. And it's like, bro, this happens, and then we went up on a boat, and then we're in Saudi Arabia or whatever. It's not Saudi Arabia, but you get the point,
And then
right?
they got salty when he wasn't.
Yeah, then he didn't show up.
And then they were like, no, we could do this without him. We could have fun without this guy.
Yeah, and like it's a relationship built on hype alone. Like they really don't care about the guy. They just care about what he can offer, and like you can help me escape.
Yeah,
it's like
activities.
it's a distraction. You're seeking relationship with individuals as a distraction from everything else. So like we're cool so long as you can supply me fun, or that feeling when we hung out. We like for instance when we go to Cleveland or whatever, and we're like exploring, and it's like this new thing. Like I'm only gonna hang out with you because it's fun to do that. And we have fun and we have that common goal, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but sometimes I think that like people's core relationships are founded on only that. And it's kind of piggybacking off what you said, but I say this all the time with you. Like, hype, clout, and emotions in anything are always fleeting. They never stay. That's why happiness is a poor thing to chase, because happiness doesn't last. When it comes to emotion, nothing ever does, you know? And so when emotion fleets, it's gone, what are you left with? What's the foundation, you know? And I guess I knew it was probably going to come back to this anyway, but what's that house built on? Stone or sand?
Yeah.
You know, and so when emotions leave, that means water's going to come up, rising up to whatever. And when it recedes, it's all back on the beach.
Yeah.
You know, like a sandcastle. It just all melts away.
Well, something I don't want to say I'm correcting you, but like something I think you meant, like happiness outside of yourself, when you're pursuing happiness outside of your own self.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. I'm sorry I didn't word that correctly.
No, you're good. I just think, like a lot of people aren't happy with themselves, aren't happy with the life that they live. Therefore, you distract yourself. So you have, which I was thinking about this, not to like be a tagline type of guy, but they have substanceless relationships with a lot of substances around them, because a lot of people
Say that again?
Substanceless
substance-less or
substance-less relationships.
Okay, you're saying that really quick, so I want to be sure I heard
But
you
with
correctly.
substance there. So like everybody's all lit on these substances. I see a lot of people out here who are successful, man, and doing their thing, and like, hey, all power to your grind, but are fried. Like I'm like, yo, this dude is fried. How are you doing anything with yourself? And it's because like that's the culture now, man. That's
it's also their escape too, is from all the pressure.
But like that's the desire now. It's like, oh man, they look like they're lit. They look like they're. But if you really like were to sit down, man, and like do things with yourself and look at that individual again, you'd be like, man, this dude is fried, man. He is disguising some pain or something inside of them. And I would go to say that person probably has some substanceless relationships, like.
And I would even say that like that's almost the goal, is to have substanceless relationships. And I'm not a psychologist by any means, but like maybe on a subconscious level, like you avoid having deeper relationships so you don't have to confront those things you don't like about yourself.
Oh yeah, that's good.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and I get kind of like we're almost repeating ourselves at that point. But like one of the things that like I had this conversation yesterday where I said that like I think it's funny, and I've done this before myself, if I'm in a group of people where I don't necessarily feel comfortable with them, where or like something is said and like it didn't come out right, and then all of a sudden it gets real quiet and it's like awkward silence. But not all silences are awkward. But certain people, no matter what silence it is, have to try to fill it and start talking when there's no need for it.
Yeah.
And why is that? Because silence makes you think about things, and when you get quiet, or if we stop talking to each other, we're like, well, like what? Why is this awkward? It's not awkward. It's just silence.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not saying this is always, but I've noticed this within myself personally, not necessarily even within a conversation, like even my internal conversation. When things die down, your struggles or your things that you don't like about yourself or your critiques, or I hate using this because it's not the best use of language, but your demons, you have to confront them. They come back. They're in your face now.
Yeah.
Whereas before, like if you're around the hype and it's cool, we're having fun, and my poor dance moves, like, you're distracted, right? And I kind of think it's almost the same thing with friendships, because what does a good friend do? Like, if like they notice that one, you're bent out of shape, and then they're like, yo, tell me what's up, like, or you're acting crazy, like, what's going on with you? And if you get some like, oh no, dude, I'm alright, no, don't give me that crap, like, what's up with you?
Yeah.
You're acting crazy right now, and like that's what real friends will do, and they care enough to say all that type of stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas if you have a superficial relationship where it's all about the hype and you don't have those deeper relationships, it's like, well, as long as like as long as you can supply me with this, like, who cares? Like, you'll get over it. Like, go, like, have a beer, you'll be all right. You know what I mean? Or hey, well, let's go kick it and let's go scream, run around, drive fast in the car or whatever. I'm obviously making ridiculous things, but you get what I'm trying to say. Like, once we get going, you'll get over it. We'll just put a Band-Aid on the situation.
Yeah.
And I think that's almost how we treat our relationships at times, is that we treat it as a Band-Aid to, like, ignore our problems.
Yeah. So, yeah, I definitely want to delve into that. So me, my background, I guess you could say, I hate to say this, I honestly do, it's a pride thing, I think, though. Did that drop too low?
Yeah, like, go ahead like, I'll go ahead and keep
Are we good on the levels?
Yeah, no, we'll be fine. It's still picking us up. It's just not going to be directly. But we should be
You should
okay.
just flip the mics up.
Yeah, I'm gonna lock it and then slowly pick it. But go ahead.
Right now, so I can adjust them?
Yeah. So, brief intermission.
So yeah, just delving in a little bit into that, like individuals who subconsciously or even consciously may not want those ties, want those real ties or real relationships with substance. Only like the superficial relationships where it's high and by, let's kick it tonight. You recognize, I feel like with some of them you can recognize the consistency of substances, because me, I can relate with that because my life, my personality is a very addictive personality. So like the way my mind works is it processes thoughts at 100 miles per hour and this and that, crazy thoughts, normal thoughts, weird thoughts, unnecessary thoughts. I'm just like,
Yeah.
why is this happening? Yeah. So me, I got into smoking weed early in my life because it sedated my mind. It allowed me to just take the ease off, take the pain, chill, slow things down, just be fried, chilling, cool. And it wasn't really until recent where I was able to kind of process deep things and even recognize that consistency in my life. It wasn't until recent. Till your sister, my best friend, whom I married because of this purpose, is that she is the type of person to like, stop. This is going on. You need to recognize this and you need to fix this. And like, I guess you have the relationships, but like nothing really like your sister, man. Like she really would like, I see this going on and it needs to be fixed,
What do you mean?
And like issues in me, like you're doing this.
But you're saying like, you're talking about me, like.
No, I see this in your sister. Like,
oh, I thought you said you were referring to me, and you're like, but your sister does it more. And I was like, wait, what?
No, so let me like put it like.
I was so confused for a second.
Let me pull in the loose ends a little bit. So prior to marrying his sister, prior to marrying my wife, I had a personality would be like I have good relationships and like, but whenever things hit the fan, I would kind of fall away. I would kind of just go into my own bubble, which eventually led to me either, just. I guess you would say binging on just smoking smoking, drinking, which is weird because I never really was a big drinker until like, the last few years before my marriage and before experiencing salvation. But it wasn't until after marriage where I started to recognize, because when you're married, you just committed your life to somebody, and even the things that kind of fell around my marriage, which is like the job position I'm in now and a few other things that were like I'm in charge of and they're my responsibility. It wasn't until, in these latter years, the past few years, like 1 or 2 years, where I started to recognize like I have a personality that likes to run from things, like me as a teenager and even as a young adult, I'm still a young adult, but like prior to marriage, like I would, man, if I had an issue, I'm bouncing. I'm gonna hit my boy up in Philly. Danny, I love you, man. And I'm gone, like I'm out of the Cleveland. Like I don't want to be here no more. I'm stressed out. Screw this, or be in my household and be like, yo, forget y'all and my parents. Like I'm gone. I'm out. I'm gonna go with my boys. I'm gonna go kick it. It wasn't until like crap hit the fan in my relationship with my wife, and I just be like oh, I'm out, screw this, and it's like, I got nowhere to go, you know, like I can't just pack up and go to New York or go to Philly like I want to, because I have a life that I'm caring for, you know, and I've always had relationships where people would point out, but never someone who I'm in the same household with. I lay next to every night, you know, I wake up to every morning, who I love dearly and I'm supporting, you know, like where I don't want to give up on her, even though inside everything inside is like run, give up, get out, you know. So like, honestly, if I'm being genuine, I could say like I get you, I understand, even if it's conscious, subconscious, you understand. Like I get it, I get it, man. It's hard to have. Even my brother, you know, he would say, like he was just saying earlier today, that we would have conversations that make you eerie and uncomfortable, and it's just like that silence. You're just like, darn it, dude. Like, we were just laughing 15 minutes ago because we're hyped up on pregame, and now it's just like, why you say that, man? And I've had relationships like that always, you know, but it's just like, they make you uncomfortable, you know, like they point out things that are ugly in yourself, you know. I think I heard this comment on pride where it's easy to recognize in someone else, but almost disguised in yourself. You can't recognize it in yourself, but you can quickly point it out someone else. You know, that stuff's uncomfortable. You never want to be told you're doing something wrong. You never want to be told to correct this. You never want to be told to fix that. You never want to be told, hey man, I love your energy, but tone it down. It's like, what? You know, so like, you know, just to wrap all this rant on, is saying like, it's something I've recognized as a recent is like, I'm a runner. I'm a substance abuser or addictive personality, because like that stuff helps me to relieve. It helps me to chime out of real life. You know, it helps me to chime out of the hard situations, even the things I love. Being a filmmaker, man, this, especially nowadays, film is a thing to be in, you know. And I genuinely feel called to it. I genuinely feel like my destiny is impacted through that art. But it's hard to see a bunch of people doing great, and then like my wife, she's a hard body girl, man. She's a savage, sweetie. You are a savage. It's hard to be like, come home, be like, man, babe, like, and I don't never call her babe. I don't know why I said that. Man, sweetie, like, I'm going through this emotions, I'm going through this feelings, and she's like, grow up, like, real talk, man. She'll be like, grow up, like, suck it up. You know, we have this thing where I call her the queen, she calls me the Don Alejandro, follow my IG. She's like, are you a Don? Like, how do Dons act? And I'll sit there in a mopey little boy son attitude, like, they dominate, they conquer. She's like, then suck it up, be a man. And I'm just like, darn it. A little bit of chin hairs just grew in this conversation. Thank you, sweetie. Give you a kiss, leave. Because then I gotta go cry in my car alone. You know, those relationships are hard, bro. Like, who, I'm gonna say, because, and honestly, I think we need that as human beings. How can you give your God-given destiny if you're not really, you know, if you're not really exposed to your errors and your faults, you know?
Yeah. And again, like, to say, like, I do understand the allure of having all this. Like I said, I've desired it before, and every once in a while, it's like, man, like I wish I wish I had like more friends. So like, you know, like this Saturday night when I'm like hitting people up, they're all busy, you know.
Or then you see somebody's feet and they're over here like kicking it.
They're doing whatever they're doing whatever. And it's like always someone always has plans. I'm like, I'm finally free for once. I got nothing to do, and I want to like have fun, and then no one's available. It's like, dang it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the same time, and this might sound really, I don't know, like this might sound...
Not that our friends are fun, don't get us wrong. Everyone's just stupid busy and got like...
Yeah, so this is like awkward time of life where like people are getting engaged and people are like getting into their careers, and it's just like you're like caught in the middle of this, like, and even yourself, you're going through all these rapid changes and like all these possibilities that could or may not happen. It's all kind of hitting you at once, you know? And so like probably everyone kind of goes through that at some point where like man, like my one go-to is always busy. Who else is free? You know what I mean?
Especially you. I mean, your best friend's getting married here.
Right.
We're in the wedding. No, that's completely off.
And so like, you know, he's gearing up, and you know he's freaking out. Rightly so, because like he's making sure he wants to be financially secure and have things like in a row. Make sure things are ready to go. Bars, you know, looking at living situations, all of that, and that's a lot to handle within like I think it's like what 3 more months in counting, and so like, you know, granted that's gonna happen, you know, and then also with you I can't like, okay, well I can't go to him I can't like make you my social babysitter. Like you have my sister to take care of. You know, that's important. You guys need to nurture your relationship. So like, you know, and I'm also someone that's self-aware enough where I'm not gonna just rely on one person. You know what I mean? But that's why I get the allure of it. But at the same time, what discourages me from like just seeking attention is that like, for one, this might sound really bad. That's another person I have to try to maintain, and like you know, I'm struggling maintaining myself. You know, let alone the relationships I do have. And then on top of that, is that what's the point of wasting time with a superficial relationship? Like we're gonna do something, and then this is also what happens too, when you get put in situations where we do get like loud music or whatever. I get tired of it really fast. It's not really my scene. Again, I'm more of like, let's go get a cup of coffee, or let's grab a bite to eat, or watch a movie, or like let's go bonfire, or like let's go like do something like whether that's like sports related, basketball, or let's go bowling. You know, do something and then let's talk. That's like kind of how I do things, I guess.
Yeah.
So eventually, like the friend groups I've had before were like, you know, I did have that like college friends, you know what I mean? Where like we would do stuff like that. I was like, hey, let's go get ice cream or go Taco Tuesday. And then it'd be the one person's like, hey, let's come over for my birthday, and then they want to go like clubbing or something, and I'm like, I'll go just to like be like, you know, hi, whatever, blah blah blah, and then I'll cut out in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like it always resolves to that, and like again, it's like there's no point to it. It's empty. Because like again, I can't talk to you over boom 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 boom.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's funny you say that though, 'cause I actually, like as you're speaking, I remember
I sound like such an old man, by the way.
What?
I don't like the loud music.
Even though I love loud music, just not in groups of people, I guess.
Yeah. But it's funny you were saying, like, I remember one particular moment, I guess, like, with me, I kind of always felt weird, awkward, because, like, I don't really have a filter. I kind of just speak my mind all the time.
Same.
Yeah, so, like, even, like, being a general person, like, I like to get to know people and get to know, that's why I know so many people, is I just like, yeah, man, what's up? Who are you? You know, like, tell me about yourself. What are you going through right now? Or not necessarily going through, like, what stresses, you know, what are you stressing about right now? But, like,
yeah.
you know, where you at? What's your career? You do photography. You know, like, I just like getting to know people. You know, that's just who I am. I guess that's how my parents kind of brought me up. So like, I remember one particular time we were at this big party. Man, this was my freshman year in high school, and like, you know, we're all smoking, we're drinking, but like me, I'm just not like a superficial person. Like, it's just not in my nature to be just roasted and just be like, just go home. Like, yeah, those are my friends. You know. I literally remember this like it was yesterday because I felt like an idiot, man. I really sat there and thought about my life, but I think I was either smoking, or I was sitting next to somebody, and I was like, "Yo, man, what's up? How's so and so?" and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And this dude really looked at me like, and I knew this dude for a minute, man, but he really looked at me like, so embarrassing. He looked at me and was like, "Bro, you talk too much." Swear and everything, and I was just like, what? Like, I didn't even ask you about the, like, I was like, this is awkward. Yeah. So, like, I just, like, it made me feel like an idiot, man. I'm like, my bad, bro. I was just trying to catch up. I didn't know, like, we couldn't talk.
Yeah. And I think that's something interesting, too, that, like, I've noticed is, and someone actually pointed this out to me, so that's why I'm bringing it up. But, and they said, like they at first they didn't know how to handle it because most people don't do this, and they were blaming it on church culture. And I don't know if I can validate that or not. It's kind of whatever. But they'd said that like it's kind of weird coming up and talking to you sometimes because like you know, like, it's like, hey,
they're saying this to you.
Yeah, saying it to me. They're like, hey, yo, what's up, Andrew? And I'll be like hey, what's up, man? How are you doing? And then I won't continue talking. Then they expect someone to just like start talking about whatever. He's like, you just wait for the person to respond. And it's like, you know, I'm like, well, I actually,
a listener.
Like, one, like I when I'm asking you how you doing, like I expect an answer. I don't expect like a, you know, I'm cool. Like I expect like, you good? Okay, well, then what's good? You know what I mean? Yeah. Like I expect you to actually talk to me. Like I'm saying, I'm asking it because even if we're not even that close, like I actually want to know if you're doing well. Like what's going on in your life.
Yeah.
Because you never know. Like I'm not saying it, like this isn't the goal of it, but like you might say something that I need to hear. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe it might open something up. It might have like an opportunity for you to maybe like get something off your chest. I don't know. That's not always my first thought, but like from, I guess, again, being raised a certain way and being around family is like, don't ask things unless you mean it, in a roundabout way, that's kind of like what I'm asking. I don't always do that. If you're in a hurry, it's like, oh yeah, hey, I'm doing good, man. I'll catch you later or something. But I'm saying like usually, if I'm whatever, you see me, and then you say like, hey, what's up, man? Like, hey, what's up? How you doing? And then I never realized that, and I'm like, I do that to everybody. He's like, yeah, well, sometimes like I don't know how to deal with that. I'm like fishing for something to say, and I'm like, well, then don't ask.
Yeah, I think I could vouch for that too. Actually, just a recent. Won't put any names on it because it might cause some bitterness. But
yeah, we don't want bitterness on this show.
Yeah, no, we don't want to be the root of any bitterness. But like my mom, she's the type of person she digs. So like, simply started from one question, and then she just kept okay. What about this? Okay, and then it led to a conclusion. I said individual, they had asked me the same question, and then
And left it.
they didn't get what my mom got, and they were frustrated with that. And I was like, but my mom dug for that,
Yeah.
Like me, son, I could use my words very well. Even though I speak in Ebonics, I can use my words very well. I can play my choices well. So like that, I'm the same way, like. People may get frustrated in my personality or like, yo, this dude is so nosy. It's like, nah. If anything, I'm not like trying to help. It's not necessarily like I'm trying to help you out. I have the better knowledge, but in trying to like figure out, allow you to vent or get to know you a little bit.
Right.
I'm also helping myself out because, like I said, I process things at 1,000,000 miles per hour. So I may see you. You're not Andrew though. I may see this said individual.
Yeah.
Do something and how I see them react. I'm like. Interesting. I don't know if I would have reacted like that. So then that leads to why did they do that? And why did they react like that?
Yeah.
What emotions are they experiencing? I can't help that. Like it drives me crazy, but that's just who I am, like I could be in a room and hear 17 other conversations and just be like processing it all like, man, why are they even talking about that? Why is it even a concern? Like
being a nosy Puerto Rican.
Can't help it. It's in my blood,
Me too.
But
I'm nosy as all get out.
So like, yeah. So like, I feel like I can see where I can get frustrating around like, yeah. So, oh, that happened to you? What did you feel like when that happened? Oh, why did you react like that? And it's like, yo, bro, are you trying to like gossip about me to somebody else, or why do you want to know so much? It's just because like, maybe I went through the same thing, or maybe I want to be prepared for if I do go through it, so that maybe I processed it the same way you did, or maybe I can if I feel like you processed it in a healthy way, or maybe I process it differently so that I can come back to you and be like, yo, man, I experienced the same thing.
Yeah.
This is how I dealt with it.
Right.
And maybe it'll shine some light in your situation and give you some insight and be able to help you either put that stuff to rest, help you elevate your life, or, like it's deeper than just like, okay, I went through this. And oh man, I absolutely hate bias where everyone's like, yeah, men are men, women are women. We all experience. Puerto Ricans all go through this. Mexicans all go through. Americans all go through. Blah blah blah. And it's like, no, that's BS, man. Like every human is different. Just like our fingerprints. There's no same fingerprint. There's no same thought process. At least exactly the same.
Right.
There's similarities, but not exactly the same.
Right. There's so like even though there's been like tons of people, there's always a uniqueness to your situation. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
Not everything's cut and dry the same. Not everyone's going to go through the exact same thing at the same exact instant in the same exact way.
Yeah.
But I want to tie this together because I know you get to get home soon. But it's kind of tied in well with what you just said. Was like the concept of like iron sharpens iron.
Yeah.
And I know that's like a cutesy Christianese thing that people like to say anytime they have like a fruitful discussion with somebody, like, oh bro, that was such a great conversation. Iron sharpens iron. You know what I'm saying?
Just so you guys keep wondering, like, yes, we're Jesus followers. Just for the record, just so you don't think like, oh, what kind of religion are they? We love Jesus.
Yeah.
That's just a premise. That's not what this is about. But that's where our morals and our standards lie.
That's what we're kind of referencing on and leaning on at certain points.
Yeah, because Christianese is obnoxious. But
it can be when it's used inappropriately.
Yeah, or used...
Or excess.
Yeah. Definitely excess.
Yeah, because like you sound more like, like a Christian robot than you were like an actual human being.
The system.
Right. But I know it's like it's like I feel like that's another we talked about before about things being used out of context, but overused where the meaning kind of is diluted. And so, like, yes, you might have gleaned something cool from a conversation. Someone hyped you up. Iron sharpens iron, and yes, you can be sharpened in those instances. But where I think like this is also this take this with a grain of salt. This is also a personal opinion. I think that the real sharpening happens when it's difficult conversation. Because think about it, like I guess actually I've had this conversation a few times, and I got it from Max, who's a friend of ours. He's also one of the pastors at our church.
Love you, Max.
Absolutely, bro.
Perez breakthrough.
So this is your credit. I'm crediting you for this.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying it in my own way. Do you think that if metal, like it's being sharpened, whether it's a sword or whatever, and then the sharpening stone, if they had the ability to speak, do you think that like they're sitting there like nice and quiet, like, oh, this feels great, this feels awesome, or do you think they'd be screaming in pain at the sparks are flying? It's being like things are being shaved off of you. It's hot metal flying everywhere. Sparks. Do you think that's a fun process to go through? Does it sound fun?
Heck no.
It's hot, it hurts, and you're getting something that's scraping you.
Yeah.
That's a painful process.
Or even to put in the what you used earlier today with a diamond. Like if a diamond had if any of these things had nerves or feelings that could react or speak, a diamond is pressurized like crazy. But everybody loves wearing those beautiful things.
Right.
They don't know the process that a diamond went through
Right.
to be established, to be created.
And to tie it all together is that like I'm not saying that everybody who isn't me has superficial relationships. I have them too. I said that earlier. But I think that we should reevaluate ourselves and look at our relationships. And not saying ditch the ones that don't matter. That's not good either. You don't want to let people fall by the wayside because you never know who's looking up to you or someone that like might actually value you more than you value them. That's another thing. It's a possibility as well. But start reevaluating your relationships and saying like, do I really know this person? Did they know me? Are we on the same page? Because like, I don't think that there's actual true sharpening happening with your relationships if it's always just meadow, fun, whatever, and that's all we're doing. But if you have someone there that you like that can beat you over the head, and even if they don't know how to express it right and they hurt your feelings, but it's still truthful, and you go back home and go, man, I hated the way they said it to me, but it was right. Like I think you need to have at least one of those relationships in your life. Someone that can beat you over the head, and you might get hurt by it for a little bit, but ultimately you know they're right, and you can go back to them and like, yo, bro, I was acting up, or, or whatever, but you're right. Like, let's work through this together. Like, what are your thoughts are? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whether that's taking someone through a biblical whatever, or just someone who can that that they have sound advice and they're not going to give you lead you astray. Someone who's like legit and has your back and ain't going to gossip about you. Like, I think that's super important because that's the only way that that your peers are going to sharpen you. Quite frankly, that's my opinion. I could be wrong, but
No, I agree 100%. I would say, I mean, yeah, it's all smiles and giggles here, but outside of this offset in my personal life right now, I'm getting what feels like to my feelings and my emotions, which never be led by that. I feel like I'm getting dookied on from every avenue, any angle, even from those closest to me. I feel like I'm just being beat down, torn to shreds, and like based off my 2018 year, man, which we won't get into that. Like
another time.
I'm already on all fours, man. If anything, on my stomach, dragging myself by my forearms.
I feel you.
And to like look around and those closest to me, and I'm only seeing their ankles. I can't even look up at them anymore. And I just feel like, they have their rods out, hitting me, and that's how it comes across. But in reality, they're adding salt to my wounds. They're curing me, if anything. They see a lot of damage. They see a lot of negative. They see a lot of bad in me. And even though, I can see it with them saying it, but even though it hurts, I feel that, to use that diamond, I feel all that pressure coming at me. And what I felt was a long in 2018 and even leading into 19 idle season for me. I feel that pressure starting to work. I feel that diamond starting to forming.
Yeah.
Starting to form. And I almost feel like I was thinking on the way over here. I almost feel like, and not to date it, I don't know when that'll happen. I almost feel like it's getting ready to just, like I'm getting ready to just launch out, if not already beginning that process of starting to receive the critique, you know, the advice, even sometimes not every time it's gonna be positive. Sometimes it could be negative in a bad way, but it's also forming me, shaping me. I'm starting to think. I'm starting to take it to my prayer time. I'm starting to bounce it off my wife and see what she thinks, and bounce it off you, see what you think. Bounce it off this mentor, see what they think.
Yeah.
And I also I really feel like okay, like okay, so many okays because there's so many voices,
Yeah.
and I just feel like, all right, God, I'm here. I'm ready. Like this sucks. I hate it. Sometimes I just sit there and turn on Hector Lavoe as loud as I can, and
You've
just
been on him lately.
oh man,
on that.
that's my boy, and just allow my mind to just be flooded with his music because I can't think anymore, and just look. And it's almost like my future is so or the critique is forming me and shaping me and cutting things away, building things back up, or I could just almost feel like a lobster. A lobster grows out of its shell. When it fills its shell, it sheds it, and then it grows another one, or it goes to find.
I believe it just molts and then it has another thing.
Yeah,
I think
so
you're thinking a snail.
it'll break out of its shell, and then it'll grow another one once it hits a peak and it's where it's at. So I feel like I'm ready to just. I feel like I already broke out of, but now I'm just growing back into a new one, into the next season of my life.
It almost feels like you're ready to launch again.
Yep. Yeah. So it may suck, and we're not saying this take beating from verbal beating, emotional beating from people. We're saying
don't let someone abuse you.
Yeah, we're saying if you have a select group, don't be afraid of those relationships. And even if you do have superficial relationships, think about what that person has, what you do know about that person, and if it's not much, try and know more about them, even if it's one or two things. See how you can help that, or see how that can help you.
Right.
Utilize that. I think that's one thing I've been blessed with, is that even in my superficial relationships, there is at least one deep thing that I know about someone that I can either pray for them, or I can give them verbal advice, or it gives me advice that I know. Okay,
Right.
so and so.
It gives you a perspective on something.
Yep.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I guess we can wrap up there. I guess I want to turn this over to you guys. What are your thoughts about what we're talking about? Do you agree with anything? Do you disagree? I would love to know your thoughts. I'm sure you would too. So whether you're watching this on YouTube or Facebook or wherever you're consuming this video, if you're watching, just go ahead and comment in the comment section below and just let us know what you guys think. We'd love to hear it. Again, we'll have this linked in the description, and I would love to hear from you guys. So that being said, deuces.